Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a whole stack of sources, really dig in and pull out the knowledge you need. It's tailored for you, the learner.
Exactly. You want to get up to speed quickly, thoroughly, but without, feeling completely overwhelmed.
And today, we are diving deep into Michael Masterson's Ready, Fire, Aim. Might sound a bit dramatic, 0 to 100 million.
Right, but forget the title for a sec. This is really about core principles, stuff you can actually use, like right now, whether it's for a business or even just a personal project.
Yeah, precisely. We've sifted through it to find those really crucial insights, explain the key ideas, simply give you some solid examples.
And the big thing, what can you do with this? Actionable steps.
Okay, so who is Michael Masterson, for anyone who hasn't come across him?
Well, he's a really well-regarded consultant, entrepreneur, known for earlytries.com, worked with a major international publisher, built it up significantly.
But his own story is pretty interesting too, right?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
wasn't just a consultant.
No, not at all. He made his own wealth first as a writer and entrepreneur. And he had this realization that focusing on becoming wealthy wasn't just about the money itself.
Okay.
It was about that goal unlocking other things he wanted to do. It created freedom, opportunity. That's kind of the underlying theme.
Interesting. Okay, let's dig in. He structures this whole thing around 4 stages of growth for a business. Understanding these seems pretty fundamental.
Yeah, it's a really helpful framework. Helps you figure out where you are, maybe, and what's likely coming next.
So, stage 1, infancy. This is from 0 revenue up to about $1 million. What's the main thing going on here?
The main problem, honestly, it's just not really knowing what you're doing yet.
Right. Flying blind a bit.
Yeah, and the biggest challenge is nailing that very first profitable sale. That's the hurdle.
Which brings us to a key idea he hammers home, the supremacy of selling.
Exactly. He even quotes someone, Tetsuba, saying every business is actually 2 businesses. Yeah, one is whatever you make or do, your product, your service. The other is the business of selling that product or service.
And it's easy to get lost in the first one, isn't it? Thinking, my idea is brilliant, just need to tweak it a bit more.
Totally. But Masterson says, especially in infancy, you need to flip that. Like 80% of your time, your energy, your money, it has to go into selling.
80%. That
Yeah.
sounds huge.
It is. Only 20% on everything else, perfecting the product, the office, whatever.
That feels really counterintuitive for a lot of people starting out. What's the mistake they make?
They do the exact opposite, usually. They pour time and money into, fancy business cards, the perfect website, maybe renting an office.
Before they've even proven anyone will buy it.
Precisely. And Masterson doesn't mince words. He calls it arrogant, just assuming your idea is a winner without checking with actual customers. And foolish, because you're delaying the most crucial thing you need, which is feedback from the market. Did anyone actually pay for this?
So it's all about getting something out there fast, even if it's basic, and seeing if it sells. Is there a good example of this?
Yeah, he mentions Alex Tu's milliondollarhomepage.com. Remember that?
Vaguely, yeah. The guy selling pixels.
That's the one. He threw up a super basic website, cost almost nothing. His immediate, laser focus was just selling those pixels, starting with friends and family.
And it worked, didn't it?
Big time. Hit $1 million in about 5 months because he just focused relentlessly on the selling part first.
Okay, so the takeaway for infancy, validate the sale first. Don't overinvest time or money before you know people will actually buy. Get that first sale.
That's the core of it.
Right. So what happens after you break through that first million? Where do you go then?
That brings you to stage 2, childhood. This is roughly between $1 million and $10 million in revenue.
And the problem changes.
Yeah. The main issue now is often what he calls one product company syndrome.
You've got your hit, but you're relying entirely on it.
Exactly. You had that initial success, which is great, but just riding that one wave can lead to stagnation. The market changes, competitors appear.
So the challenge is to break out of that.
Yes. And the key here, according to Masterson, is aggressive innovation, constantly developing and launching new products or services.
Aggressive innovation. Okay. So childhood is all about creating more things to sell.
Pretty much. Speed and innovation become crucial. He even has a chart, figure 1.1, showing how companies that really ramped up new product launches in this stage saw their revenue climb much faster.
But innovation can sound daunting, like you need to invent the next iPhone every time.
Right. And he clarifies that. He advocates for evolution, not revolution,
Right.
meaning you don't need groundbreaking inventions. Often, it's about creating new and, importantly, better versions of products that are already out there and doing well, or things related to what you already sell. He calls it one step removed.
So like, find a trend and improve on it, or find a related need your current customers have.
Exactly. Think about the iPod again. MP3 players existed, but Apple made one that was significantly better, easier to use, better integrated. That's evolution.
He also talks about front-end versus back-end products here. What's the difference?
Okay, so front-end products or innovations are the exciting ones, the ones designed to grab attention and bring in new customers. Your flagship offers, maybe?
The shiny objects.
Sort of, yeah. Then back-end products are often simpler, maybe less innovative in a flashy way, but they're sold to your existing customers.
The ones who already trust you.
Right. And because you've already built that relationship and goodwill, these back-end sales can be incredibly profitable, even for fairly ordinary products. Your loyal customers are just happy to buy more from you.
Okay, that makes sense. So how do you actually come up with these new product ideas, front-end or back-end?
He suggests structured brainstorming. Get a small group together, 3 to 8 people, record everything. And then there's this 24-hour rule, which sounds interesting.
What's that?
If a really promising, tipping point idea comes up, something that feels big, you have to capture its essence, basically a headline and a quick description, within 24 hours. Don't let it just fade away.
Capturing that initial spark.
Yeah. And he also uses this tool called the Magic Product Cube.
Okay.
It's a way to systematically think about variations. You look at your existing product and think, can we change the price? Cheaper, premium. Can we change the product type? Service to digital, physical to service. Can we change the unique selling proposition? Target a niche, highlight a different benefit.
So it's a framework to force different angles on what you already do.
Exactly. Helps break you out of thinking too narrowly.
All right, so childhood takeaway. You've got your first hit. Now, build a system to keep innovating. Launch more products, especially for your existing happy customers. Keep the momentum. What's stage 3?
Stage 3 is adolescence. Now we're talking $10 million up to maybe $50 million in revenue.
Okay, getting bigger. What's the main problem now?
Things start to break. The systems, the processes, they get strained. You're growing fast, and the cracks start showing. And crucially, customers often start to notice.
So those scrappy, make-it-up-as-you-go approach that worked before.
Yeah, it doesn't scale. It starts causing problems. Service might slip. Orders get mixed up. Communication breaks down. Chaos starts to creep in.
So the challenge is fixing that, bringing in order.
Precisely. Adolescence insight. Systemize and professionalize. You need to turn that chaos into order. That means implementing proper protocols, clear processes, and bringing in professional management.
This sounds like a potentially tough transition, especially for the founder who's used to doing everything.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge shift. You have to recognize you need that professional expertise now. Your early team members, their roles are going to change, maybe dramatically.
And you need to hire actual managers.
Yes, experienced managers who know how to run departments, build systems. He shows these diagrams like figure 19.1, which is the typical early stage, everything revolving around the CEO.
The hub and spoke model.
Right. And then figure 19.2 shows the shift to something more like a traditional corporate structure, or maybe a model with a chief operating officer. And these people he calls entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs. So like entrepreneurs inside the company.
Exactly. People within your organization who have that drive, who can take ownership of projects or divisions. Empowering them is key.
And finding those people, the superstars, becomes really important.
Critical. Masterson says the best employees are usually self-motivated, they learn fast. Your job as a leader changes too. It's less about telling them how to do things.
And more about
Giving them clear goals, the resources they need, and then kind of stepping back and letting them run with it. He even pushes back against needing super detailed job descriptions for high-level people.
Really? Why is that?
He argues that for top performers, things like adaptability, drive, problem-solving skills are way more important than ticking boxes on a rigid description. They'll figure it out.
Interesting. But as you get bigger, don't you run into other problems? Like bottlenecks, red tape, office politics.
Definitely. He warns about those. Bottlenecks, bureaucracy, politics, they can kill growth if you're not careful.
So what do you do?
You have to be vigilant. Encourage people to identify and call out processes that don't make sense anymore, that are just slowing things down.
Cut the red tape.
Yeah. And with politics, he's quite blunt. You need to root out power-mongering. Create a culture where results matter, not maneuvering.
Okay, adolescence takeaway. Growth means systemizing. Build solid processes, empower a strong team with real managers and maybe entrepreneurs. Learn to delegate, step back, and focus on the bigger picture.
You got it.
Which leads us to stage 4.
Adulthood.
$50 million, $100 million, maybe more. What's the issue here? Seems like you'd have it made by then.
You'd think so, but often the big problem here is that sales growth slows down. It might even stall completely.
Hitting a plateau.
Yeah. You've built this big, successful machine, but keeping that growth engine roaring takes a different approach again.
So what's the key insight for adulthood?
Adulthood insight. Become entrepreneurial again, but in a different way.
How
The CEO's role needs to shift almost entirely. You're not managing the day-to-day anymore. You shouldn't be. You become the visionary, the main business builder. Your focus is on core values, the long-term future, maybe finding the next big strategic move.
So you might even need to step out of the CEO role entirely.
He suggests seriously considering it. Transitioning out of daily management lets you focus on the business, not in it. Working on strategy, on culture, on the next big opportunities.
And at this stage, you should have the team to handle the operations.
Hopefully. You leverage that competent leadership, those superstar teams you built in adolescence. This allows the founder or visionary leader to focus on those high-level wealth-building activities.
He also mentions making work fun and easy at this stage.
Yeah, by having the right people and systems in place, it should become less of a grind. He also talks about the power of sharing versus hoarding. Having an abundance mindset, being generous with customers, focusing on delivering massive value, basically the golden rule in business. He argues that builds incredible long-term loyalty and resilience.
Right. So, adulthood takeaway. Focus shifts to strategy, vision, and maybe finding your successor for the day-to-day. Leverage your established success, keep the culture strong, and think about the next big leap while ensuring the core business runs smoothly without your constant intervention.
That's a good summary.
Okay, that's the 4 stages. Really useful framework. Now, let's switch gears a bit to something core to his selling philosophy. The optimum selling strategy, or OSS. What is that?
The OSS basically is finding that sweet spot. It's the perfect combination of where you advertise media, what you charge, pricing, and how you present your offer, positioning, to attract the best possible customers in the most cost-effective way.
Finding that magic formula.
Kind of, yeah. It's about aligning those 3 things perfectly for your market.
And he breaks it down into 4 secrets. Secret number 1.
Secret 1, know where your customers are. This is the media part.
So don't just guess where to advertise.
Absolutely not. You need to do your homework. Research your industry, see where your competitors are advertising successfully, talk to media brokers maybe, understand where your ideal target customers actually spend their time and attention. Online, offline, specific magazines, specific websites.
Got it. Do the research. Secret number 2.
Secret 2, price for maximum profit. This isn't just cost plus.
Right. Not just it cost me $10, so I'll sell it for $20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about understanding price elasticity, what the market will actually bear. Testing different price points, understanding how discounts affect perception and volume,
Okay.
and critically calculating your allowable acquisition cost, or AAC.
Allowable acquisition cost. What's that?
It's the absolute maximum amount of money you can afford to spend to get one new customer and still make your desired profit.
How do you figure that out?
You need to know your customer's lifetime gross profit, how much profit they generate for you over their entire relationship with your business. Then you subtract the cost of the goods, your overhead percentage, and the profit margin you want to make. What's left is your AAC.
Knowing that number seems crucial for deciding how much you can spend on marketing.
It's fundamental. If you don't know your AAC, you're flying blind on your marketing spend. You could be losing money on every new customer without realizing it.
Okay, vital number. Secret number 3.
Secret 3, create a powerful offer. This is the positioning piece.
Making people want what you have.
Exactly. It starts with developing a strong, unique selling proposition, a USP. What makes you different and better than the competition?
And it has to be actually unique.
Well, he says it needs to seem unique to the customer, be genuinely useful or desirable, and be simple enough to understand quickly.
Makes sense.
And you need to connect that USP to a big idea, an overarching theme or concept that makes your marketing compelling. And of course, back it all up with strong proof, testimonials, data, case studies.
So a clear reason to choose you, tied to a bigger concept with evidence.
That's the goal.
And the last one, secret number 4.
Secret 4, maximize customer lifetime value. This ties back to the AAC calculation.
It's not just about the first sale.
Not at all. The real profit often comes from repeat business. So the focus should be on acquiring qualified customers, people likely to buy again and then. Well, he uses the word pummeling them.
Pummeling. Sounds a bit aggressive.
It does, but his point is you need to consistently and persistently offer them more opportunities to buy from you valuable back-end products, upgrades, related services. Nurture that relationship to get them buying again and again.
Okay, so maybe actively engaging them with relevant offers.
Yeah, that's probably a better way to put it. Don't just get the first sale and forget about them.
Right. So, the OSS takeaway. Really understand your customer, figure out where to reach them efficiently, set the right price based on value in your costs, create an offer they can't refuse, and then keep selling to them over the long haul.
That's the essence of the optimum selling strategy.
Now, the book's title, Ready, Fire, Aim. It's famous for that phrase. What's the core idea there? It sounds backwards.
It is backwards intentionally. It's all about bias towards action, velocity, getting things moving quickly.
So don't get stuck planning forever.
Exactly. His point isn't fire at will, like just doing random stuff carelessly. It's ready. Do enough preparation, then fire, take action, launch it, get it out there, then aim, adjust based on the results you get.
Learn from doing.
Precisely. Getting going quickly is often more important than waiting for the perfect plan, which might never come.
But it's not totally reckless. He does have some checks, right? These 7 critical questions before launching.
Yes, absolutely. It's crucial prep you need to ask. 1, is this actually a good idea? Gut check. 2, does it feel right? Intuition matters.
Okay.
3, is it economically feasible? Can it make money? 4, can we afford to test it? Is the initial risk manageable?
Right.
5, do we actually know what steps to take, at least initially? 6, do we have the right people involved or can we get them? And 7, what's our plan B if this initial test fails?
So it's like a quick essential reality check before you pull the trigger.
Exactly. It provides guardrails. If you can answer yes to those, you're probably ready enough to fire.
He also talks about why people don't fire, right?
Yeah.
Procrastination, perfectionism.
Oh, yeah. He's very open about those being huge obstacles. He even admits struggling with perfectionism himself, especially in writing, wants to get it perfect before showing anyone.
Relatable for many, I imagine.
Totally. And related to that is this idea of incremental degradation.
What's that been bad?
It is. It's the danger of making lots of small, seemingly insignificant cuts to quality or service over time. Each little cut doesn't seem like a big deal.
But they add up.
They add up and suddenly your product isn't as good, customers notice, and sales start to drop, but you might not even realize why immediately. He tells a story about a candy company that gradually cheapened its ingredients.
And killed their own business slowly.
Pretty much. So
Yeah.
you have to guard against that slow erosion of quality.
And the aiming part comes after the firing.
Yes. Once you've launched, once you see if it sells, then you refine. You take the customer feedback, you look at the data, and you make improvements. As he says, paraphrasing, if it doesn't sell well, kill it quickly. If it does sell, then invest in making it better.
Aim based on real results, not just theory.
That's the core loop. Ready, fire, aim. Then ready, fire, aim again on the next iteration or the next product.
Okay, ready, fire, aim takeaway. Fight the urge for perfectionism and endless analysis. Do your essential checks, those 7 questions, then act. Launch, learn, adjust. Velocity is key.
Couldn't say it better.
One last interesting concept he touches on is understanding buying frenzies. What's that about?
It's looking at the psychology behind why people sometimes go on buying sprees, especially for non-essential items.
What drives that?
He points to a few factors. One is simply feeling like you have extra money, like a bonus or tax refund. Another is being exposed to really effective selling signals, great marketing, social proof. And the third is the actual good feeling, the dopamine hit people get from the act of buying something they desire.
So it's often emotional, not purely rational.
Especially for discretionary purchases, yes. It satisfies an urge.
How can businesses use this understanding?
Well, recognizing that emotional component is key. And realizing that once someone makes that first purchase and gets that good feeling,
They might be open to buying more right away.
exactly, they're kind of primed for it. That's where things like immediate bounce back offers or upsells or cross-sells can be really effective. You satisfy that initial urge, and then you immediately give them another opportunity to feel that positive buying emotion again.
Strike while the iron is hot, basically.
Yeah, capitalize on that positive momentum. Don't wait weeks to offer them something else if they're in that buying mood now.
Buying frenzies takeaway. Understand the emotional triggers behind purchases, especially discretionary ones. Create opportunities for customers to buy more soon after their initial purchase to leverage that positive buying feeling.
Makes sense. So wrapping up our deep dive into Ready, Fire, Aim, we've really hit the main points, I think.
Yeah, we covered those 4 stages of growth from just starting out to becoming a major player.
Right, and the absolute need to focus on selling right at the beginning, in that infancy stage.
Then the importance of continuous innovation in childhood, building out your product line.
And that optimum selling strategy, getting your media, pricing, and positioning right.
Then the shifting adolescence to
Yeah.
building systems, professionalizing, getting your team structure right.
hmm And finally, in adulthood, becoming entrepreneurial again, but at a strategic level, focusing on vision, and maybe stepping back from the day-to-day.
And overarching all of that is the ready, fire, aim philosophy, the bias towards action, learning from doing.
Plus that little insight into buying psychology. It all ties together.
And like we said at the start, these aren't just abstract theories. The goal here was to pull out things that you, the learner, can actually think about and potentially apply whatever stage your business or project is in right now.
Hopefully it provides some practical value, some actionable ideas.
Definitely. So to leave our listeners with something to chew on.
Yeah, final thought. Thinking about those 4 stages Masterson lays out, which one feels most like where you are right now?
Good question.
And building on that, what's maybe one step removed innovation, like we talked about, an improvement or related offering that you could perhaps explore starting, right now?